Okay, so the way we build homes in Canada, yeah, that's about to be flipped on its head in a huge way. Like, we're not just talking about minor tweaks or small shifts here. No, we're looking at a full-on transformation of how the entire housing game is played, and it's coming straight from the top. So Mark Carney, yep, the Liberal leader just dropped this mega announcement, and honestly, if you're under 40 and trying to buy a place right now, you're gonna want to listen to this.
We used to build things in this country. After the Second World War, Canada faced a housing crisis. The government built prefabricated homes that were easy to assemble and inexpensive. And those homes are still here 80 years later. Now we're in another housing crisis. And it's time your government got back into the business of building affordable homes. We will build new homes for Canadians at a pace not seen since the Second World War. We'll build a Canada you can afford.
The plan? It's called Build Canada Homes, and it's not just another campaign buzzword. This thing is a full-blown government initiative that's jumping into the housing market like never before. And I mean actually stepping in as a real developer of affordable homes. That's right, the feds are getting their hands dirty and building at scale again, like post-World War II vibes, but make it 2025, here's the deal. Build Canada Homes is teaming up with the private sector, and the plan is to build on public lands, which means stuff the government already owns. No vague statements, they're literally unlocking land that's just been sitting there. Think large-scale, post-war housing boom energy, but adapted for now. The scale? Massive. The goal? Deeply affordable housing for the people who need it most, and to make it happen they're dropping 10 billion yup, with a B in low-interest financing to builders who are actually committed to helping the most vulnerable. We're talking students, seniors, low-income Canadians, people who've basically been boxed out of the market for years. This isn't just talk. That money is meant to start making change ASAP. And hey, real quick, if you're into content like this where we break down what's actually happening in the country, especially stuff that affects your rent, your job, or your future, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next update. Because trust me, this housing story, it's just getting started. But yo, this isn't just about throwing up some houses and calling it a day. They're going after the entire construction industry, because Carney straight up said the way we build right now is outdated and broken.
The way we build homes needs to change. Prefabricated and modular housing will play a big role in the future.
Get this, 80,000 construction jobs are vacant right now, and over the next decade another 300,000 workers in that space are retiring. Oh, and to top it off, construction productivity has been stagnant for years, like it hasn't moved at all. And guess what's happened during that time? Cost went up by 51%, that's wild. So what's the fix? Prefab and modular homes. If you've never heard of them, basically they're built in factories, shipped out and assembled super fast on site. That's the future, and Carney's betting big on it. These homes can be completed in half the time, cost about 20% less to build, and they pump out 22% fewer emissions. That's cheaper, faster and greener all in one, and honestly, that's kinda refreshing. Canada's already got factories doing this. What's missing? Scale. So yeah, they're throwing 25 billion into that space too, just to blow it up and make Canada a global leader in prefab housing. Huge. And this isn't just construction jobs either. This whole thing's gonna create thousands of new jobs up and down the entire supply chain, like research gigs at UBC's Smart Structures Lab, factory jobs in Sherbrooke and Calgary, even forestry jobs thanks to all the Canadian lumber they'll be using. Projects like the one in Elmsdale, Nova Scotia. That's the blueprint. This is about creating real long-term work, not temp gigs that vanish after the ribbon cutting. Carney keeps calling them good jobs, and honestly, yeah, these are stable, skilled positions that pay real money and let people actually build careers.
That is how we're going to bring home powerful paychecks for these incredible men and women who are coming to my support. And I will say this as well. We also need to send the message to our youth that the best jobs in the world are trades jobs. We need boots, not suits. We're going to bring back the $4,000 apprenticeship grant that the Liberals are canceling at the end of this month.
And the trades? They're not just part of the plan, they are the plan. The folks who swing the hammers and lay the foundations, they're going to be working non-stop for years. The homes? All types. Not just those boxy duplexes you always see in the suburbs. We're talking single-family houses, mid-rise buildings, high-rise apartments, literally everything in between. It's not just about affordability, it's about giving people options and making it actually livable. But wait, there's more. This isn't just about building houses. Carney wants to fix the housing market itself. Right now it's basically drowning in red tape and extra costs. Developers are paying huge fees and taxes just to get projects off the ground, which makes it harder or sometimes impossible to build anything. Carney says that's over, and if you're still watching and this stuff matters to you, you know how much your future home is gonna cost, or whether your kids can ever afford to move out. Take a second, hit like. It actually helps get this kind of info in front of more people who need to hear it. Under the new plan, a Liberal government would cut those charges and taxes in half for all multi-unit residential builds for 5 years. That's no joke. That's like $40,000 off a 2-bedroom apartment in Toronto. Suddenly, building stuff becomes worth it again. Now obviously cutting those fees means less cash for cities, right? So to balance it out, the feds are gonna throw money at infrastructure stuff like roads, plumbing, power to support that new growth. And they're expecting provinces and cities to match the vibe. It's not a free-for-all, but it's a partnership. One of the coolest parts, they're bringing back this tax rule from the 70s called the Accelerated Depreciation Credit. It basically lets builders get their money back faster, which means they can reinvest it and build more rental housing. It worked back then, and now they're modernizing it to make it even better. Also, they're coming for the approval process. If you've ever looked into how long it takes to get a building permit in Canada, it's a joke. Endless layers of bureaucracy, and different rules in every city. They're talking about streamlining all that and encouraging every level of government to cut the red tape and actually get stuff moving. Carney wants what he calls a single economy where rules are aligned and projects don't get stuck for years over paperwork.
For the City of Toronto and for helping us to unlock what's necessary to build the homes that Canadians need and deserve.
And the plan includes boosting something that's already working, the Housing Accelerator Fund. Mayors from all over Red Deer, Quebec City, you name it, have already said this fund is getting real results. Carney wants to double down on it. Basically, if it's working, scale it up. All of this adds up to something way bigger than just a set of policies. It's like a total rewire of how housing works in this country. Faster, cheaper, greener, more jobs, more homes. It's trying to reset the system, but of course nothing in politics happens in a vacuum. While Carney was out there talking about homes, reporters kept asking about this guy Paul Chang, one of the candidates who apparently made some sketchy comments in the past.
Mr. Chang is a veteran policeman with more than a quarter century of service to his community. 28 years of defending rights in this community, and he will continue with his candidacy.
Civil society groups are calling for him to be dropped, but Carney's standing by him. He says the dude apologized and had a long solid career in policing. Is it a distraction? Kinda. But it didn't stop the housing plan from stealing the spotlight, and honestly that's what most people were tuning in for. Because let's be real, housing right now, it's broken, rent's wild, buying's out of reach, and nobody feels like things are getting better. Carney's basically saying the old way isn't working, so we're doing it differently now. We're talking about modular builds, government-backed financing, major tax cuts, new job creation, smart materials, faster permits, all of it together. Not as scattered ideas, but one giant national plan. And yo, if this plan sounds like something you wish had been done 10 years ago, or like something your future self is absolutely banking on, drop a comment below, and let me know what part of it hits home for you. Let's talk about what real change could look like. And if this thing actually happens the way it's described, we're talking hundreds of thousands of new homes, cheaper places to live, more secure jobs, faster builds, less environmental impact, and maybe, just maybe, a generation that can actually afford to stop renting. It's not just bold, it's a total mindset shift from reacting to fixing, from fixing to transforming. So if you've been waiting forever, trying to save for a down payment that never feels close enough, or just watching rent chew through your paychecks every month, this could be the change you've been waiting for. We don't know yet if it'll all happen the way they say, but one thing's for sure: the way we build homes in Canada. That chapter just ended, and the next one, it starts now. And hey, if you stuck around to the end, I appreciate you. Hit subscribe, hit like, and share this with someone who's been stressing about housing. Let's keep the conversation going, and stay on top of what's next. Because this is just the beginning.